Here we go, back at it again. Horse race bets getting you going here for this week of action on this Tuesday. We're going to lay everything out for the entire weekend and then get you set for the play today coming up on Wednesday. A couple of folks requested that I put the play of the day out the day before to give you more time to take a look at it. Okay, we'll do that. So here on this Tuesday, we'll get you set for what's happening with the Wednesday play of the day, plus talk about the big race coming up on Saturday. Before we get to that, let's talk about what happened over the course of the weekend. And one race really is all that matters. It was all about the Haskell. And, journalism is a good horse. That's a really good horse. But I still am not sure if the way that he's winning is like he seems to be getting weird trips every single race, and he seems to be up against it every single time they turn for home. Meaning he's got to go catch some horses or he's got to hold off Sovereignty. So he's always been in a tough situation, but he's incredibly athletic. This is a really, really good horse. We talk a lot, we go through these 3-year-old crops, and there's always, one standout horse, but this year we've got two horses that are really special. You can keep throwing Baeza or whoever you want into the conversation if you want to, but you're wasting everyone's time. There are two 3-year-olds. Now, the beauty of this is Sovereignty is going to have to do something special coming up this weekend because journalism did something special in the Haskell. I didn't think he was going to be able to get to goal-oriented and Gosker out there, but he got to him. So he's very impressive. I don't believe there's any scenario where journalism beats Sovereignty. I just don't think it's going to be possible. But I do like the way these horses are developing in the matchup in the Breeders' Cup Classic, provided they both show up, hopefully with 8 other horses. That's super exciting. So journalism did his thing. So now the question is, can Sovereignty do his thing? Can Sovereignty do his thing? And we'll have a chance coming up this week. All right, the Jim Dandy Stakes at Saratoga. It's going to be really interesting at the 1.8 distance there on the dirt with those runners. Look, Sovereignty is definitely the one to watch, but here's the problem with this race. Take a look at what you got going on. Baeza to the inside. Because of the way that Baeza has been running and like teasing people, I really expect this horse to be forwardly placed coming up on Saturday, right? So then, what do you do with these other runners, right? Hill Road, like I don't know what. He's a closer and he's obviously a very talented horse, right? But I just don't know what he wants to do. And he wants to sit back and make that run, and that's not going to work. Now, he's more, in my opinion, more reliable than Sandman. We've seen the best that Sandman can do, and it's not going to be good enough. He'll be lucky if he runs third in this race, to be honest with you. So now you go to the horse that's probably got the pace advantage, and that is Moplex. But I don't think Moplex is good enough to beat Sovereignty. And the way that Sovereignty won the Belmont was really nice. Junior Alvarado had him a little bit closer to the pace, and they actually went quick enough with Crudo and Rodriguez out there on the front end. That was quick enough pace, but he had Sovereignty close enough, and I liked that. I don't know if that works against Moplex. He's going to have to hope that Baeza, and I believe Baeza will, go out there and try and stay close to Moplex. And if Baeza can do that, Baeza might even try and steal the lead. If he does that, then that puts Moplex in the stalking position that he wants to be in. But I don't think it gives him enough of an advantage to beat Sovereignty. But here's what I'm going to do, because Sovereignty is the horse to watch. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. But he is not the horse to bet. The horse to bet is Moplex. He's a horse that has won back-to-back runnings, looking for 3 in a row. Yes, he's facing the toughest competition that he's ever seen, especially with Sovereignty in this race. And Baez is a talented horse. Sandman, Hill Road, they're talented horses, but Sovereignty is in a league all by himself. And the only way you're going to beat him is you better get out there. You better get out there and go and force him to come get you. And at this distance, he may not be able to do that. So Moplex is the play in the Jim Dandy coming up on Saturday. Now, before that race on Saturday, there's the Grade 3 Lake George at Saratoga, 1/16 on the turf course. Hey, I like this field quite a bit. And it looks like we're going to get, a fair shake. So we've had some problems with our turf runners the past month. The majority of our turf runners, the races were taken off the turf course or we had significant scratches, right? So once that happens, in my opinion, once they either change the surface or they have significant scratches, I completely ignore my picks because that's not what I was handicapping. And I'm not going to go back over and over again and try to adjust according to what's happening with either the track conditions or track officials taking races off of the surface or canceling them and moving them to 2 days later. Like, I don't have time for any of that bullshit. I don't do that. I make the pick. If they change those things, then as far as I'm concerned, my pick is now null and void. So that's how I see that. In this situation, I think we're going to get not a tremendous pace, but enough. We know that Classic Q wants to go. Good Long Cry has some speed. I believe that Princess Altitude and Lavender Disaster will be close enough just to kind of push things a little bit. And I don't need a wicked fast pace, but if I get one, it's even better. But I think those horses will do enough to keep the pace honest. And now I'm going to do something I've never done before, and it cost me when I didn't do it previously. I've been avoiding certain riders on the turf, and Ricardo Santana is one of those riders that I've been avoiding on the turf because I associated him with Steve Asmussen. And I can count on one hand how many times I've seen Steve Asmussen win on the turf course. It's not a lot. He's an outstanding Hall of Fame, legendary trainer. I just haven't seen it a lot. So that's why I wasn't really rolling with Ricardo Santana. But I've seen him make some things happen, including last weekend on the turf course. And now I'm like, okay, this horse has a great, great turn of foot, nice running style. He's going to be covered up and he's going to be last early on. Then he'll make his move. And I think he's got enough of a kick to run them down. And I think if those horses that I identified, there's only 2 real speed horses in that. But I think the other 2 horses will push it enough to keep them honest. And that sets it up for our price to come through. A Terradora to come through in the Lake George. That's Saturday at Saratoga. And that will be a price. So that's Saturday. What about Wednesday, Ken? Wednesday play of the day also comes to us from Saratoga. Looks like we're going to avoid any wet weather, any significant wet weather until maybe Sunday, maybe late Saturday, Sunday if we get any. So it looks like everything will be as is. They'll be on the turf course. Turf will be in good condition. And the race that's coming up, right? It's a mile and 3/8 on the turf Wednesday. Saratoga race number 6. Decent sized field. It's not a tremendous pace scenario in here, but I don't think it matters for our selection. Our selection is a horse that's turning back in distance. That is Mutawid. And Mutawid is a horse that you can see going 1.5 miles last time out. My man Kendrick Carmouche in the irons. And they did a great job running them down. This horse is a deep closer with an incredible turn of foot. I'm hoping that he's not as far back this time as he was last time. But it doesn't really matter. I'm just looking for his monster kick in the stretch. And I think we'll get our value. So that's our Wednesday play of the day. It is the 8 Mutawid in race number 6 on the card from Saratoga. And that there is how we get this week started. So we take a look at what's happening. You got your Jim Dandy coming up over the weekend on Saturday. Also the Lake George coming up on Saturday at Saratoga. Sovereignty. Look, if he can win that race, we already know he's special. But if he can win this race, given the pace scenario and the other horses in the field, then he is truly exceptional. I look forward to seeing that. But I'm going to try to beat him and make some money with Moplex. All right, that's going to do it for us here on Horse Race Bets. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us. In the meantime, in between time, until next time, we'll see you here. And good luck and enjoy whatever you're into.